Coast game, so Baggedmilk had a late night, so we do this over the phone when that happens. Thank you for joining us.
I appreciate it, man.
Not a problem, man. Not a problem. Quickly, we'll get into the Oilers play here. Also, we're not talking about Don Cherry today. We're putting a bullet in that. But let's.
You know what is funny though about Don Cherry? Can I just do it real quick?
Yeah.
I had this just hilarious thought where it's like the other day when there was like a big announcement coming from Don Cherry, and we're like, okay, what's going on? And then his announcement was that he's starting a podcast like literally everybody else on the planet.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, biggest fear during sex. That was our topic of the day.
There's performance anxiety, obviously. Just the general thought of what am I looking at? What does my face look like? Is it going to show up on my Instagram somehow?
I said I'm scared of pulling a muscle, like a hammy. Jimmy was scared that he's never going to have it again. And Locke isn't sure of his fears because he blacks out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the fear of... I really like the fear of never having it again. Like, oh my God, is this the last time?
I cramp up every once in a while. Like I'll get so
because you watch too many adult movies and then you try to do the moves.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, trying to take something you learned from your subcategory you're exploring into the bedroom. That doesn't
Let's try this, honey.
It's called film study.
I'm just going to need to put your hands above your head.
Just like a good quarterback in football. You got to watch game tape.
Just setting up the sex swing.
So anyway, great transition. Thank you, Jimmy.
Into this.
Yeah. The Oilers are playing really, really well right now, and I think everybody is mildly cautious about their success at this point because of the potential disappointment are just around the corner. But can we start to get a little bit excited here, or I want to wade into these waters cautiously? But are we at a point? I shouldn't be asking you. You're the biggest Oilers fan. I think we know.
Well, you know what? The fears make sense. We've been hurt before, so I completely get it. We're nearing a important marker in the NHL season in terms of when teams that are in the playoff picture tend to stay in the playoff picture, which is American Thanksgiving. I don't know why that is. It just kind of is. If you're kind of way out of the race by the time American Thanksgiving rolls around, you're probably not going to get back into it. St. Louis Blues obviously are an exception. Last year they won the cup. However, the Oilers are in a really good spot right now. This week is huge for them. They started off the road trip with 2 huge points in San Jose. Those are divisional points. They've got a game against LA tomorrow. They have to win it. I think we can start getting excited. However, we've been hurt before.
Yeah.
So I get it. It's interesting that everybody's kind of in the same boat. Nobody really expected them to come out this hot this season, and it really has been incredible to watch. They're playing well. And the goaltending is rock solid. Mikko Koskinen, I owe him an apology letter. I trashed the dude on Twitter for months, and he is throwing it back in all of our faces, and I'm very grateful for it.
Do we credit Tippett? Like what? I saw Taylor Hall last night. He was smiling on the bench. It's
Taylor Hall?
Or not Taylor Hall. I got Taylor Hall in front of me because we want to talk about that. Connor McDavid, he's smiling. He's got like a big grin on his face. Like they're having fun. Like what the hell's going on? Yeah, I guess so, right? Like
I think Dave Tippett does deserve some credit. Like there's some things last night they won the special teams battle against San Jose, meaning they scored on the power play. They didn't allow anything on the penalty kill. And if this was last season, that would not have been the case. So is it Tippett's systems? Is it the new players that Holland brought in? I don't know. At this point, I don't really care. All I really care about is that they're winning. I care that I'm less than 6 months away from completely destroying my liver again. And that's really all that matters.
So basically, since the Oilers traded Taylor Hall for Adam Larson, there's been rumors that they're going to trade to get him again. Those rumors are back this week saying that Taylor Hall requested a trade from the Devils. Edmonton's number 1 on his list. Your thoughts on that? Do they need him back? Do they want him back? Could they get him back?
There's a couple. I always have weird thoughts about Taylor Hall. Like, should they want him back? Yeah, he's an incredible hockey player.
He's a Hart Trophy winner or whatever.
Of course, I like to think of the idea of having Connor and Leon on line one, and then Taylor Hall, Nuge, and James Neal on line two, and all of a sudden, I start to get a little bit of blood flow in the nether region. However, the problem is that rumor came out from just a guy, it seemed like. That's the thing with Twitter, too, right?
That's what I thought. It was just a guy on Twitter that tweeted saying, I've been hearing Taylor Hall wants to trade back to the Oilers, and then it took off.
Well, that's what's funny, right? Like, almost anybody can be like, well, I heard from so-and-so and so-and-so that Taylor Hall wants to come back and he wants to buy a house in Terwilliger. It's like, wow, that's very specific. But it's just funny how with Twitter, almost anybody can throw something out there and kind of have a catch heat, because this market is just so passionate about the Oilers and they so desperately want to win that they'll latch onto it. So is it possible? Sure, maybe. Do I expect it? No, absolutely.
I don't think it happens.
Here's my thing with the Oilers and guys like that. I think that whatever's happening right now with this team is a chemistry thing. So you mentioned that is it Tippett? It doesn't matter what it is. This team is clicking for whatever reason. So they found some sort of an ingredient, and God knows what it is, and it's working. I don't think Taylor Hall would. I think he would upset that chemistry because he's a dick, and I don't think you want to put a dick in that room, right?
Well, I mean, it all depends how much the rest of the boys love My Little Pony, I suppose. However, you are right. Like, I mean, it could upset the chemistry in the room. However, you know, it's also been 4 years since he's left, so maybe the kid's grown up a little bit. I don't know.
He dragged the Devils single-handedly into the playoffs 2 years ago.
But
like, there was no one else on that team. But he was hurt.
Haven't won.
But he was hurt all last season.
I don't
played
know.
30 games last year. That was it.
The biggest
you're a
problem is
huge. You
I
really
don't
dislike Taylor Hall.
I was calling for his trade about a year into his
You're
stay
very
here.
biased.
I don't like him at all. And I think that those guys, no matter how well you play, some guys just are never going to have success because they're just they're not.
He did have success though.
Has he won a cup? He's never won a cup.
No, but he didn't have anyone else on his Devils team with him. He dragged them into the playoffs, and he won the MVP.
I don't think they need him. I don't think they want, and I don't think they should put him in that dressing room. I think it would be a mistake.
This is the guy who would not choose the Patriots in any of our NFL pools to win, though,
Satan's team,
because his dislike will blur everything else.
They're cheaters.
He went an entire season and didn't choose the Patriots once.
I don't like them.
Would they want to have a player of Taylor Hall's caliber? I assume they would. However, what I think that they would want to do is, I still think that Dave Tippett wants to tinker with the bottom six and add more scoring depth in there if he's possible.
All right.
So I think that they're probably looking at more periphery pieces than necessarily a huge one like Taylor Hall. And besides, they don't have a whole lot of cap space. So
they don't have cap space, Grant.
Well, you're trading away probably two players to get them.
You would need to trade away some assets. So how does that affect, like Lachlan said, the overall chemistry in the room? Can they make the math work? Is he willing to sign an extension that isn't going to blow up the bank? If he signs an extension, does that mean Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has to go? That would break my heart. So I don't know.
A lot of factors.
All right.
Shout out to Ethan Bear, by the way. I think I might get a Bear jersey.
He's a good kid.
I love the way he's playing.
I like that kid. Yeah.
He has been one of the best stories of the season so far, because nobody expected him to even crack the roster. And not only has he cracked the roster, he's playing huge minutes. He's looking good while he's doing it. And he's kind of showing everybody up that, hey, he put the work in, and he deserves to be here. And I love Ethan Bear. I love the fact that you're going to get a Bear jersey if you do. I respect it.
Not enough talk about Klefbom, in my opinion, too. I think he's just unbelievable this year. He's stepped it up as well. All right.
Oscar Klefbom is playing the second most minutes of anybody in the NHL. Number one was Brent Burns, who they faced last night. Oscar Klefbom is quietly on pace for about a 55-point season, which is fantastic for a defenseman.
Awesome.
The guy is not only shredded and handsome, but he's doing it on the edge as well.
All right, my friend. You take care.
All right, boys.
Baggedmilk, Oilers Nation. Always a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you.